Okay, we're live, and if you're on the line already to attend our 1 o'clock seminar on Pure, we are going to start in about 2.5 minutes. So just kind of waiting for a few people to join up, and we'll get ourselves started. I'm going to practice my screen share. That's going to work. That's fine. That's good. So we're just about 2 minutes in. And if you're watching this on the recording, and later on, you can just skip forward the beginning of the webinar is about 3 minutes in from the beginning. You may be able to actually edit it later on. I'm not sure about that. We're learning as we go here. And we're 1 minute from starting. Again, if you pop into this on the recording later on, you can fast forward from here. It's just about 30 seconds ahead of this particular spot here. We might have some people joining us. All right, it's 1 o'clock. Happy New Year, everybody. And I'm Dr. Charles Foster with Fostering Wellness. We have Fostering Wellness clinics in Brandon and Rutland and Randolph, Vermont. And so if you want to find out more information about our office, we encourage you to go there. Go on the website, look us up at fosteringwellness.net and find out more about our office. And so as I said, I want to welcome you to our webinar on Pure. It's a webinar about detoxing our bodies, getting our bodies back into a pure situation where the body can heal itself. And briefly, we'll talk about how chiropractic plays into that. But I want to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to share with you a different screen. You won't have to look at me during this. I got a presentation for you. So let's see here. And it should be loading up here pretty quick. It's taken a varying amount of time as I've rehearsed this and recorded it previously. But we're almost there. Okay, let's see. I need to, sorry. Learning curve, folks, learning curve. Took you to the end. Want to go to the beginning. Let's try that again. Good, good, good. All right, so let's begin. Every once in a while, pressing the reset button in life can be a healthy thing. A cleanse or a purification food plan, it's a great way to get back to the things that we were supposed to be eating all along. It's a great way to establish, perhaps for the first time, the habits that are necessary and congruent with our body's physiology. When our habits are congruent with our genetic requirements, our body's default program, our default setting is to create more health. Purifying your diet and detoxing your body is often the most important step that you can take to put your body back into tip-top shape. We at Foster Wellness believe that there's so much power in the purification that you can actually turn back the clock. Stick with us during the next 25 minutes and then join with us for 21 days as we purify ourselves. And you're going to feel younger. You're going to look younger. You're going to move younger. You're going to eliminate better, sleep better, snore less, have more energy, reduce joint pain, reduce muscle pain, reduce mucus production, and you're going to lose weight in the process. People are going to take one look at you and say, what have you been doing? And they're going to want what you have. First, let's quickly answer the question, why do we need to purify or detox? And where are we getting exposed to these terrible, harmful toxins? Okay? The first pathway, the first exposure pathways are really simple and easy to identify. We breathe in poisons and noxious fumes and chemicals into our lungs daily, probably, and directly from our environment. Many of these have no odor, and we cannot even know that it's happening. But the sources of these inhaled toxins are well documented. Gases, fumes, petroleum-based products, from household cleaners, from byproducts of combustion, and from smoking, to name just a few. We can also subject ourselves to taking on toxins by absorption through our skin. Again, these can be from petroleum products, household cleaners, fertilizers, herbicides like weed killers, woodworking products, paint products, associated cleaners, and pool supplies, photography chemicals, and on and on and on. And most of these products labels advise us to wear gloves and to use protective eyewear when handling these items. But the truth is that it's very common for individuals to either not read the warnings or to ignore them altogether. Ironically, we can even take in toxic materials with common items like personal hygiene products, things like antiperspirant and toothpaste. And how about things like chewing gum? We've been chewing gum since we were young people, and yet there are artificial sweeteners in these products. It's almost impossible to buy chewing gum today that does not have these chemicals in them. Now, to make the point that chemicals can be ingested accidentally, without knowledge, without a forethought, it can just happen because it's so readily available and so accidental. I want to just show you how some of these things were discovered accidentally as well. So one of the most popular artificial sweeteners was accidentally discovered by scientists who were working on developing food preservatives. One of the researchers, and presumably he was taking ordinary precautionary measures, noticed that one of the compounds that he was working with left a sweet taste in his mouth. Follow this. In 1879, a chemistry research assistant by the name of Constantine Fahlberg was working on these new food preservatives when he accidentally spilled some of the compound he had synthesized onto his hands. Now, when he went back home that night and was eating his dinner, he noticed that there was an intense sweetness from the compound. He named that compound saccharin, after the Latin saccharum, which means sugar. So he went back to the lab and retracing his steps until he was able to synthesize this saccharin and was able to produce it in bulk. Whether it had drifted into his mouth from airborne stuff or whether it went to his mouth from contact from his hands, we understand that we can get toxins into our body quite by accident. What we do know is that what they did is they took this stuff that was going to be food preservative and turned it into a inexpensive compound that is many times sweeter than regular sugar. The manufacturer decided to experiment some more, and they were able to further develop this, quote, safe sugar alternative. Aspartame is another one of those major artificial sweeteners. This was discovered in 1965 by James Schlatter while he was working for the drug company J.D. Searle. Schlatter was working on new drugs to treat ulcers when he stumbled on this compound, And surprisingly, he found the sweet taste of aspartame in about the same way that Fallberg did when he discovered saccharin. He licked his fingers like we often do to pick up a piece of paper, and he tasted the intense sweetness of the compound that he had just been working on. Again, by working backwards, he was able to determine what he had done and reproduce it, and therefore we have aspartame. And you can see just a handful of products there on our screen that have this nasty chemical in them. Finally, we have the GI tract as a third method of exposure to toxins. Poisonous or harmful toxins are taken into our mouth and end up being processed and absorbed into the body through the lining of the gut. This absorption can take place all along the alimentary canal, starting with the mouth, then the throat, the esophagus, the stomach, and finally the colon. And some of these are accidentally ingested as well. And they fall into the category, like we mentioned before, petroleum products, putting a paintbrush in your mouth while you're holding it, while you're cleaning something, cleaning products. But most of the toxins that we ingest into our stomach are done on purpose. How can that be? The answer is that much of our toxicity is coming from the foods that we eat. So let's take a deeper look at this, because this is where we want to direct our attention over the next 21 days. So did you know that we make over 1,000 decisions every single day, deciding things like what to wear, what time to get up, will we work out, will we take a shower, will we go to work early, or will we call in sick? Cornell researchers estimate that of those 1,000 decisions every day, approximately 226 of those are decisions about when to eat and what to eat and how much to eat. Nearly 25% of our daily decisions have something to do with what goes in our mouth. Incredible, 25%. A full quarter of our decisions then have a direct impact on our health. Probably even more than that when you add in decisions that you make about exercise, whether you're going to or not, what time you're going to go to bed, how much rest you're going to get, and other behaviors that either affect directly or indirectly on our health. But let's just look at that 25% that pertains to our eating. Are we making healthy choices, or are our choices making us sick? This is a very important question to answer. So important because it is my opinion that most of the people you've ever visited in the hospital have eaten their way into that hospital bed. They're overweight, they've created diabetes, they've created cancer, and on and on and on. But most of these diseases are preventable. So let's take a look at how we got here. There are approximately 50,000 different fast food chains in North America. And the ever-present McDonald's boasts nearly 500,000 locations by themselves. Fast food is everywhere. You can't go to the post office, the grocery store. You can't go buy your kid a pair of shoes. You can't pick your kids up from school without going by at least one of these fast food places. So it's easy to see how we would fall into their trap of eating from these establishments. They're convenient, they're quick, and often they're inexpensive. Well, inexpensive, that is, if you don't consider the costly consequences of eating there. How do you calculate the cost of ingesting these chemicals into your body until that day, perhaps many years later, when you get your hospital bill for that procedure you just had, for the medications that you're going to be taking, and for that lengthy rehabilitation? Then this food doesn't look so cheap, and it doesn't look so convenient. There's more to that hamburger or chicken sandwich than meets the eye. There are chemicals in there that are not congruent with your body's daily needs. So let's take a look at what's inside. Now, we're only going to mention a couple of the nastier, more prevalent ingredients. First off, we want to address high fructose corn syrup. This ingredient is ubiquitous. That's to say that it's everywhere. It's in almost all processed foods. It's used as an alternative to traditional sugar. It is syrupy, and so it mixes well with so many of the processed foods. And it's sticky, so it helps bind these same products together. It's convenient, but it's almost twice as sweet as ordinary sugar, And as such, it takes up less space, and it's lighter than ordinary sugar. And that makes it good for packaging, makes it good for transportation. It takes up less space on the grocery shelf, and it costs less to transport it from one place to another. It costs less to get it to you. And it's readily available with the literally millions of acres of ground that are dedicated to raising corn in North America. It's also used as a preservative in the same way that salt is used to keep foods from spoiling. It offers longer shelf life to all the products that include the sweetener. And because it's so prevalent and in so many products at large quantities, an individual can easily consume a day's recommended amount of sugar in a single meal or snack or dessert. Thinking of it this way, it's possible that many of us consume many times a day's worth or a day's recommended allowance, not once a day, not twice a day, sometimes 2 or 3 and 4 times a day. So the next thing I want to address is MSG. This is another very common food ingredient. And it's not only in processed foods, but it's in seasonings for meat and chicken. Now, it's the sodium salt of glutamic acid, and it's one of the most abundant, naturally occurring, non-essential amino acids found. In fact, it's found naturally in foods such as tomatoes, Parmesan cheese, potatoes, mushrooms, and other vegetables and fruits. And it gives a food a nice savory flavor, and it intensifies the meaty, savory flavor of food that occurs naturally in things like stews and soups. But they saw a need to be able to get that flavor into other foods to make them tastier as well. And so a Japanese biochemist, Kokune Aikido, was seeking to isolate and duplicate this savory taste of kombu. It's an edible seaweed used as a base for many Japanese soups. Well, he was able to produce it, and therefore it's very common in Korean, Japanese, and Chinese cuisine. If you've been to eating food at an Oriental food place, you often have to ask for non-MSG prepared foods. So it not only acts as a flavor, but it's also a form of salt, and so it acts as a preservative in many foods. So they're getting they're getting twice as much bang for their buck. It preserves and it adds flavor. And scientists have found ways to chemically form this ingredient in a very inexpensive way. It's cheaper than the naturally occurring variations and less likely to be much less safe. So many people find that they're sensitive to it in their diets. So here's what I want to give you a tip. When you go to the store, I want you to pretty much stay out of the middle of the store and shop around the edges. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But when you are considering buying something, pick up the can, pick up the package, and read the label. And look for this. Many different people and different companies have designed their own version of MSG. And so you're going to see it labeled in different ways. And that's another way that it kind of tricks you. But you can see it labeled as monosodium glutamate or sodium glutamate. You can see it as sodium 2-aminopentaneiodioate. You can see it as glutamic acid monosodium salt monohydrate, or L-glutamic acid monosodium salt monohydrate, or L-monosodium glutamate monohydrate. You can see what I'm saying. They've got different names for naming the same compound, but it's in literally tens of thousands of food preparations. Now, the FDA has deemed it safe in small consumptive levels, but exactly what are small consumption levels? If it shouldn't be taken in medium or large quantities, should we even be taking it in small quantities? Especially when there are reports that MSG can damage brain tissue. Do we really want to dabble in chemicals that possibly harm our brain or nerve tissue? Do we really want to dabble in chemicals that are known to make people sick? I mean, people literally have to avoid it. There are people who go and eat at Chinese restaurants and get sick, not because the food is bad, but because the additives is in there known as MSG. All right. So we have too many choices. There's things on our shelves that have the high fructose. A lot of stuff on the right hand bottom there. There's the MSG and the stuff there. And the next thing I want to talk to you about is your toothpaste and a chemical called fluoride. It's found everywhere. It can occur naturally in water concentrations that are well above the recommended levels. This high concentration, if taken internally, can lead to long-term adverse side effects, including dental fluorosis, a condition of mottling and discoloring of the teeth and weakening, skeletal fluorosis, and weakened bones. Now, the experts also tell us that there's no clear association between fluoridation and cancer or deaths due to cancer. Now, note the phrase that there's no clear association. They do not say no association, okay? Now, there's some evidence that this chemical may reduce the incidence of cavities in adults and children. And again, the qualifying word there is may. They use that evidence to justify mass medicating our water supplies. Most communities served by a common water supply have added fluoride to the water, as well as low dosages of chlorine to make the water potable or consumable, drinkable. You have to look very hard to find a toothpaste that does not have fluoride in it. It's a feature, if you will, of your favorite toothpaste. They advertise it. To avoid fluoride toxicity, though, from your toothpaste, there are directions on the package, and these directions are explicit. Look at your package at home. Look at the most common toothpaste brands, and you're going to see these warnings, and they're going to tell you how to be careful and the actions that you take in the event that you end up ingesting too much or swallowing. Okay, so let's just take a look at one of the labels. We don't have any problems with the directions there saying brush at least twice a day. No problem with that. But notice next it says for children between ages 2 and 6, use a pea-sized amount and supervise the child's brushing and rinsing to minimize swallowing. For children under 2, ask a dentist or physician. Now, I have a question about this. I've got a 5.5-year-old grandson, and he often brushes his teeth without supervision. And he often puts more than a pea-sized amount on there. And I have no idea, since he doesn't live with me, if he's actually making sure not to swallow the stuff. That kind of freaks me out a little bit. It tells us that we need to keep out of the reach of children under 6 years of age. If you accidentally swallow more than used for brushing, seek professional assistance or contact a poison control center immediately. When we have warnings on toxins and chemicals that are so commonly available, is it something that we really want to take into our body? Now, I want you to follow me here, okay? Just think with me through this. If it's possible that too much fluoride can cause dental fluorosis or skeletal fluorosis or weakened bone structure, and if it's possible, and if we're also to be concerned about ingesting too much fluoride in our toothpaste, and if we do, we're supposed to contact our physicians, and we also have it added into our water supply, and there's no way for us to really know how much we're taking in, or no way for us to control the volume of it without cutting back on hydrating ourselves properly, and we can't even know what foods that we are purchasing have been processed in manufacturing plants that use water as one of the processing ingredients, water that has fluoride in it. We can't know how much we're taking in. So is it possible that these toxins are building up in our system to such a degree that we have no idea of their adverse effect on our bodies and on the organs that are supposed to be processing and handling and removing these toxins? And then a final question: if we are all being mass medicated together in the same way, how will we ever know if the fluoride is actually causing any disease? Because there's no outlying group, there's no control group out there who's not having these complications because they're not exposed to it. We're all being exposed to it all the time. And so we have no idea really if there's some association between fluoride and some of our common chronic sicknesses. The last thing I want to talk about is gluten. And as an example, I just want to show you how use the term ubiquitous again, how prevalent it is. Cheerios has at least 8 different varieties of their product, and all 8 of them have gluten in them. So Cheerios has at least 8 ways to ingest gluten. I saw recently a new box that is gluten-free, so that's kind of exciting. But I'm telling you, there are literally thousands and thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of food products out there, maybe even 100,000 food products out there that have gluten in them. And that's because gluten is something that's found in wheat, rye, and barley. Very common ingredients, fillers in foods that are processed. There are more than 55 different diseases associated with gluten, and it's estimated that 99% of the people who are gluten intolerant or have celiac disease will never even be diagnosed. Nearly 15% of the US population is known to be gluten intolerant, and so that means you have nearly 1 in 5 chance of being one of these people. If you're a family of 5, one of you's probably got it, maybe even more. So how is this list for symptoms associated with gluten sensitivities? Pay attention. Are you one of these folks? Look for these symptoms later on, again, at the end of the webinar when we go through our toxicity survey. But here's some gluten complications, if you will. Digestive issues such as gas, bloating, diarrhea, even constipation. Keratosis pilaris, also known as chicken skin on the back of your arms. This tends to be the result of fatty acid deficiency and vitamin A deficiency, which is secondary to fat malabsorption problems that are caused by gluten damaging the lining of the gut. Fatigue, brain fog, feeling tired after eating a meal that contains gluten. I can attest to this one personally. I love cereal. I love Cheerios. We're sitting there looking at it. I love that stuff. But you know what? I feel tired after I eat it. And it's probably a combination of the gluten and the sugar that is made in the process. Both of those make me tired. I eat, one of my favorite things to do would be to eat a bowl of cereal before I went to bed at night. I was using it like a drug to make myself tired and sleepy. There's also diagnosis of autoimmune disease, such as Hashimoto's thyroiditis, rheumatoid arthritis, ulcerative colitis, lupus, psoriasis, scleroderma, multiple sclerosis, neurological disorders, neurological symptoms such as dizziness or feeling off balance, hormone imbalances like PMS or unexplained infertility, migraine headaches, diagnosis of chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia. And very often these diagnoses simply indicate that your provider can't pinpoint the cause of your fatigue or your pain. Inflammation or swelling in your joints, your fingers, your hips, your feet, knees, ankles, shoulders. Mood issues such as anxiety, depression, mood swings, and ADD. We can go on and on naming ingredients that are not good for us. We can look at common foods that actually have cosmetic chemicals in them. Fast food to help them maintain their color and maintain their shape. Artificial stabilizers, fillers, artificial flavors, artificial colors. By now you must be getting the idea. So suffice to say, we have too many choices and too many of them are bad choices. So often we aren't choosing between good and bad though. We're choosing between bad and bad or bad and worse. Are you with me so far? So where do we begin? I love this saying, let food be the medicine, or food will be thy medicine. I'm sorry, I did that. Or medicine will be thy food. That's what I meant to say. I have to fix that later. I apologize. So as easy it is to fall into the fast food prepared processed food trap, because it's all around us, it's just as easy to find the right foods to eat and to detox. The difficulty is that we've been programmed, indoctrinated, conditioned to see and want the fast, artificially flavored, sweetened to perfection, salted so that we want more, processed choices that we all recognize instantly when we see their logo or hear their jingle. Our minds have literally been, there's not a better word for it, brainwashed to desire these toxic products and to prefer them over the good stuff. First, know that good food is available and all around us as well. It is also easy to prepare and tasty. Second, we have a program to reprogram and reset your habits and your taste buds to prefer naturally occurring food and nutrient sources. Neurologists and behaviorists agree that it takes 21 days to establish a new beneficial habit, to replace an old negative habit. So we have a plan for you, a plan that will help establish new habits of eating new habits of food preparation, of decision making, a plan that will help you make the most of your 226 food decisions every day, a plan that is genetically congruent with your body's daily nutritional needs, and a plan that will set your body on a path to healing itself and helping you to look better, feel better, move better, sleep better, have more energy, and lose that weight. So here's the questionnaire I talked about. I'm not going to read through everything. You can go back and look at this. I'll highlight them, but I'm going to give you an opportunity to contact us to actually get the questionnaire. But for instance, with regard to digestion, do you have problems with nausea or vomiting, diarrhea, constipation? Are you feeling bloated? Do you get heartburn, acid reflux? Do you get itchy, water your eyes, swollen, red, and your sticky eyelids, itchy ears, drainage, ringing the ears, ear infections, mood swings, anxiety, depression, anger? Do you have problems with fatigue or sluggishness, or on the other hand, hyperactivity? Do you have trouble sleeping, or do you sleep hard, but when you wake up, you're still tired? Do you have chest congestion? You produce a lot of mucus? Do you have asthma, wheezing, shortness of breath, headaches, faintness, dizziness, pressure, fast heart rate, slow heart rate, irregular heart rate, high blood pressure, chest pain, pressure on the chest? Do you have problems with your skin? Acne, you break out easily, hives, rashes, dry skin, hair loss, flushing of your skin, excessive sweating, skin that easily turns red on contact. You have problems with your joints. You have chronically sore muscles, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis. You have feeling of weakness, tiredness, muscle fatigue. Are you slow to recover after exercise sessions? You have trouble losing weight. You even if you're following a food plan and exercising, is your body not getting rid of weight? You have water retention, or are you underweight, or compulsive eating, or are you binge eating because maybe you're somewhat addicted to the high fructose corn sugar, corn syrup, that kind of stuff. And on this weight thing, I want to tell you that when you detox, your body will let go of fat, because your body has been producing some fat to sort of hide away those toxins. But once you get rid of the toxins, your body doesn't have to hold on to the fat anymore. So it's easier to lose weight and keep weight off if you live on this purification program. And of course, there's things that have to do with our memory. And it's quite possible that our increasing toxicity is affecting things like, causing things like Alzheimer's and dementia. And of course, there's problems with our mouth and throat and sore gums, bleeding gums, and so on. So here's what we're going to recommend for you. A 21-day program from Standard Process. It's the company that we use. There's a number of other good companies out there, but it's the one we've had the most success with, one that we like the best, and has really the simplest food plan to follow. On your left of the screen, you see the package of supplies and supplements that you would get if you do our program. There's also a little handbook that goes with it. We want you to contact us as soon as possible, get on the program, do this with us, and report back to us. Send us pictures of how you're doing. Show us pictures of your food. Show us pictures of your recipes. We're excited about that. But what you're going to see is your body is going to improve its liver function. And the kidneys are going to improve. The large intestine, the small intestine are going to clean out. You're going to get rid of some weight just by getting rid of the stuff that's hanging out there, putrefying in your gut. So we want you to really get serious about this. Order the supplements. Give us a call. Eat the recommended foods. And as I said before, shop on the outside of the store. On the one side of the store is the produce department. On the other side of the store is the frozen food, where you can get the frozen fruits and vegetables if you're going to eat some frozen things. But stay away from the stuff that's in the boxes, and stay away from the things that are in the cans. And when you pick up a package and you read the label, if you don't recognize the ingredient, your body won't either, and it's going to be a toxin. And I've shown you a picture there of a really nice, healthy, flavorful, filling salad with avocado and peppers and onions and olive oil and balsamic. It's really, really tasty. You'll live to eat this kind of stuff. It's really good. More images here, and I put these up here because they can be beautiful, they can be tasty, they can be nourishing. And your smoothie for breakfast, everyone. We just want you to eat right, to detoxify. Let's eat right, and let's get the benefits of getting rid of those things that are making us sick, and get rid of the weight that we don't want to have, and improve ourselves, okay? Rules are simple. Eat your veggies and fruits in a 2-to-1 ratio. That's twice as many veggie servings as fruits. Make a smoothie every day for your breakfast, and make another one to take with you on the road to eat when you're feeling a little bit tired or a little bit hungry, or especially after a light workout. Take your supplements to aid in the detox. Refrain from coffee and alcohol. We're not going to eat any meat the first 10 days. We're going to get our protein from the protein smoothies and from lentils and sources like that. Day 11, we get to add back in the meats, the chicken, the fish, lean beef. You can have nuts and seeds and things like that. Use our recipes. Contact us. We have recipes. We can email them to you. I want you to hydrate liberally. I want you to exercise moderately to help keep your metabolism up. So what have you got to lose? Okay, maybe those headaches, those recurring headaches that you thought you'd have to live with forever. Maybe you're going to lose those. Maybe you're going to get rid of some joint pains. Maybe you're going to get rid of your restless or your sleepless nights. Maybe you're going to lose some weight. But what have you got to gain? Well, how about more energy, more flexibility, better elimination, pain-free joints, better rest, improved blood pressure, improved blood sugar levels, increased libido. And what can you expect as far as weight loss? In our program, it's been our experience that women typically lose between 7 and 12 pounds in 21 days. That's 3 weeks, folks. And almost everybody I talk to would love to think that they could lose a minimum of 7 pounds in 3 weeks. Men typically lose between 9 and 15 pounds in the same 3 weeks. We've had both men and women lose 20, 21 pounds in that period of time. But they had a lot of weight to lose, and they were very, very faithful to the program. But they were delighted in how it made them feel, how it made them look, how their joints move. In all ways, they were so much better. So there are several programs. We're really leaning on you to do the 21-day program because we think that's the one where you're going to see the most benefit. But if for some reason you look at your calendar, you see you can't do it, there's also a 10-day blood sugar support program. It will also help you with your blood pressure. It will also help you shave off a few pounds. But if you really want to get the bang for your buck and reset your life, seriously consider a 21-day program. Call the office, find out more about that. We can give you the price of it. We can tell you some of the specifics. We can give you little tips. We can email you information about that, okay? Finally, when do you want to start? It's basically this. Tomorrow never gets here. I'm going to start exercising tomorrow. I'm going to start eating right tomorrow. Well, it never gets here. It never gets here. It never gets here. So the time is now. And it's a great time. It's after the holidays. It's going to want to be the easiest times to begin losing weight because you're sick of all the rich foods. You're ready to put it away. You're throwing it away. And so your body is really ready to do this. And so start right away. And let's get smaller. Let's get healthier. Let's get purified for the new year. And as an aside, it's not really an aside, this is an important thing too. If you're already under chiropractic care, if you're already one of our practice members, while you're doing the program, the purification program, I'd like to see you getting adjusted at least once a week. Your nervous system runs everything. You have these poisoned, toxified organs that we're going to be stripping clear by eating right and using these supplements. Now let's help it along by improving the function of our nervous system. When we're adjusting your back and we're moving those vertebrae, we're doing more than just cracking your spine. People like to call it cracking. We're making a specific adjustment and we're influencing your nervous system so that your body can do the right thing. So if you've never been under chiropractic care, we're encouraging you to give us a call and make this a part of it. There's synergy in this program. Adjusting and eating right will help your body to be better. Just like eating right and exercising will help your body to lose weight. There's synergy. But one of the best things you could possibly do in this new year would be to incorporate regular chiropractic care, taking care of your nervous system, incorporate eating right and exercise. And I'm telling you, you're going to feel younger next year. And finally, I just want to address this. When should our kids start learning to eat right? Not after they're fat, not after they're overweight teenagers. Let's take a look around us. Are we not seeing our societies getting heavier and heavier and heavier? I was at a wrestling tournament this past weekend. In history, for the longest time, you go to a wrestling meet, you'd have the most fit and smallest young people wrestling. And I'm telling you, there's more heavyweights now than there are lightweights. It's incredible. The boys are so big. It's frustrating to me because they're going to have health problems later on. So the thing is, when should we teach our kids to eat right? Let's teach kids to eat like we're eating on this program right now. Let's don't give them mac and cheese. Let's don't give them hot dogs. Let's don't give them lunch meat sandwiches. Let's don't give them puddings. Let's teach them to eat this stuff now. And by the same token, I talk to patients all the time who are just getting introduced to chiropractic care in their 30s and their 40s. And I ask them, when would it have been nice to know this, especially when they got curves that are not proper in their spine. And to a person, they always say, I wish I'd have known about this sooner. I wish my parents would have taken me. So let's don't wait until our kids find chiropractic on their own because they have some serious health problem in their 30s and their 40s and their 50s. Let's introduce children to chiropractic care. It's just so important to their immune system. It's important to their development, their musculoskeletal development, and it's important to their posture. So in closing, if you'd like a copy of our toxic load questionnaire, please contact our office. Call us or email us, and we'll work to answer your questions and help you get started. We'll get stuff sent to you if that's what needs to happen. If you want to come by and pick it up at the office, no problem. But let us help you in 2016 to reset your life and turn back the clock. I believe that if you'll do this, you can feel better, you can feel younger next year. So here's the information. Our website is fosteringwellness.net. Our email is fosteringwellness@gmail.com. And you can see our office phone numbers in Brandon, Rutland, and Randolph. Please give us a call. We want to help you. We want to see you in our office. We want to see you looking better, feeling better very soon. So let me just exit here and join up with you again. And we're coming. And yeah. All right. So I want to thank you so much for joining me for this this last 35 minutes, I guess. I want to thank you for joining me and being a part of this. And I encourage you to share this with someone. You can direct them to our website. You can direct them to our Facebook page. We'll have this on YouTube. You can watch it again at your leisure. You can watch it with somebody else. But I thank you very much. If we've been a help to you, help somebody else by sharing this information. Thank you so much. And again, happy